U.S. military should focus on peacekeeping rather than Mr. Alan de la Plante, The Rock.
But let's talk about The Rock. What does Wayne epitomize in the movie industry? Nothing but violence, death, destruction, and basically that's what happens when you deal with a military situation. What is Canada's role in this particular type of situation? I think Canada's role is probably, when you say peacekeeper, I have a great difficulty watching a peacekeeper carrying a gun. A gun is designed to kill people. It's not designed to prevent death. It's designed to create death. And I think as a peacekeeper, I just don't see how carrying a gun into some kind of a country that, one, we don't belong in the first place. We don't belong in these. Their own business is their business. If they decide to do something which we don't quite appreciate or agree with, that doesn't mean that we have a right to go in there and physically and forcibly change what they do. We bellyache and complain when somebody from a foreign country comes to our country and decides to change our country into their country, to take it back to the level that they have left for a particular reason. I think what we need to do is watch out for our own people inside our own borders, take care of our own people, and let people who have differences within themselves to take care of themselves. Do I think that we need to be a military presence in the world? There is no way in hell that this country will have enough money, time, or energy, or manpower to be anything but a mosquito on a horse's ass. There's no way that we're actually going to be able to be a military presence in this world.
Thank you, Vice Admiral de la Plante. This is my flower power. We have to refute, rebut, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We have private fruit.
Started out being a sergeant at arms. I've already been demoted. Fellow politicos, I want you to think about this situation from a very, very different standpoint. One of physiology. Let me explain. Our men and women who are in uniform are highly trained. They are put through rigorous exercises. They have become very, very good at what they do. They are so good at being soldiers, at being sailors, Air Force people, that this is what comes naturally to them, the ability to fight. Think about yourselves. Thinking about what comes naturally. Now, if we are prevented from doing what comes naturally, we have some problems. We get frustrated. When you get frustrated from doing what comes naturally, you have to do something to relieve that, shall we say. Often it involves taking matters into your own hands. If we have this situation persist with our men and women who are in service, the same thing can happen. However, instead of just feeling a little bit cranky and a little bit antsy, these people are armed. We don't want them to be frustrated. We want them to be able to do what comes naturally for them. We want them to be able to shoot off from time to time. It's very, very important that they do so. And this way, they will do a much better job of keeping the peace because they will no longer be feeling that frustration.
Masturbation works.
My point exactly. Therefore, we need our men and women to be able to relieve this frustration that they feel, such that they can be much, much better peacekeepers. They can act like police. You'll notice that we have police wandering through our streets. They're all carrying guns, but apparently they're not all that frustrated because, for the most part, they're very peaceful people. They do a good job of keeping law and order, and their gun is there only if necessary. The same thing applies to our men and women in service.
Thank you, Private Frew. I am thinking of demoting him to cadet. I, for one, often take matters into my own hands.
Exactly.
These guys are whiners, I tell you. They're whiners. Okay. You'll have your day in the sun. Next up, who's next? It's Colonel Savage.
come by otherwise.
How did you know?
I can read you, baby. I can read you.
A long time ago, there was a great war in this country. The British versus the French. Now, I'm a third nation person in that I'm of British descent. And we were the third here. And we won that war. Since that time, we have become peaceful people. We want to enjoy the country that we fought so hard for and that we have now. There are a few minor skirmishes, but that's okay. We're dealing with that with words, not with guns. Now, peacekeeping, what does that really mean? And should we be there at all? We're in countries that have been warring for over 3,000 years. Now, if they haven't got it together in 3,000 years, what makes you think that us going over there and trying to keep the peace is going to accomplish? Nothing. We need to stay home. We need to save our bullets for invasions from those people that may come after us. We don't need to shoot our bullets off to other countries that they're going to war anyway forever. And in that process, we're losing people. 2 days ago, we lost another Canadian soldier in a country that we shouldn't even be there. How many people have to die from our country fighting wars that are not ours? Now, if we have a war here, then let's use our bullets on our people causing a war. Let's not take them over there. Just think of the shipping costs that we're going to save by keeping our bullets at home, staying out of other people's business, and taking care of our own business.
That's a big 10-4, Colonel Batty. He really has a great opinion, doesn't he? Even though he is with the Green Party. You know what I mean? Okay, next we have, let's increase the ranks so these guys quit whining. Lieutenant, we have Lieutenant Jim.
My fellow politicos, these hippies to my right here don't even have cohesion between them. One of them here thinks that guns have no place at all, not in peacekeeping, not in war, and the other one thinks that guns are okay as long as we're only shooting from our own soil. Clearly, there's some disagreement. But on our side, we're all in agreement. War is a necessary evil. We've heard from the other side how there's countries that we shouldn't even be in. If people have disputes between themselves, that they should settle it themselves. Well, we've seen how well that worked. What happened when Hitler rose to power in Germany? And we all just sat back and watched what happened within Germany until it was too late and they were advancing across Europe. And then, did we sit at home and say, well, it's not in our country, we'll just leave them to be, to settle it amongst themselves? No, the world needed to step up and do something about a dictator taking advantage of people and creating genocide against a segment of society. So today we see different genocides happening all around the world, and we have a responsibility as an established nation that has peace within our country to set an example, to show the other countries that it's unacceptable for you to persecute other people based on their beliefs, based on their religion, based on their sexual identity, based on their gender. We need to show people around the world. And the only real way to do that is with military force. We can't be peacekeepers in that country and not carry a gun. or we're going to be sending our soldiers, our citizens over there to basically be targets for target practice, to be human shields. So thank you.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. I had genocide once. I got some cream for it and it went away.
He doesn't look me.
Come and tell it like it is, JD.
Your KY?
Don't drop.
Fellows politicos, a long time ago we fought a war here, and I'm from the second people. The one that lost. Why are we going with war-mongering countries, pretending to save people from themselves, but only doing so when there's oil involved? Why aren't we helping African countries finish their wars? Because there's no money in it.
Yes.
So, if these people want to go to war for money, let them. But our sons, our daughters, let's use the strengths that we have as a multicultural country. For 200 or so years, we've managed to live side by side. And I've been here for 20 years and I haven't been shot yet. Sometimes I speak French, but I haven't been shot yet. So why do we feel we need to shoot other people? Let's go and help people that have reached the point where they're ready to talk. We're good at that. Let's go help them cease fire. Let's help them bring in an era of evolution that they will no longer feel the need to fight wars. They will no longer feel the need to shoot other people because they'll prosper side by side with each other. Let's stop this war-mongering effort.
It's beautiful. Big kahuna, the top of the pop, the biggest in town, the go-to guy, the guy who rock and rolls and never stops. Please welcome Admiral. What's your last name again?
Deno.
Deno! Deno!
My fellow human beings,
You must be political. You brought notes.
this kumbaya crowd over here would have you believe that if you saved your bullets so you could use them on your own people when you needed to, that's going to somehow bring the world to a peaceful, loving, campfire, singing, kumbaya, marshmallows over the fire kind of life. We know differently. My esteemed colleagues here have laid out a lot of good points. I want to just wrap it up. Human nature is what? You go back into the history of humanity, it is replete with nothing but weapons development and trying to kill each other because we have an in-group, out-group mentality. We can't avoid our human nature. And when we carry guns nowadays, when our police carry guns, when our military carry guns, they carry guns largely to keep the peace. And I want to, at this point, challenge our esteemed, whatever she is called, that the question, in fact, is not black and white. We are not for peacekeeping or for combat.
I like blocks.
But if you take a look at peacekeeping and combat, it is a spectrum. You have peacekeepers with no guns, you have peacekeepers with guns, you have peacekeepers with guns who have the right to defend themselves, and then you got people who have guns and want to go out and kill everybody. It's a spectrum, so the question itself is not a legitimate question. I think, we people who can afford the guns and the bullets and don't have kumbaya coming through our head all the time, have an obligation to help defend the defenseless when you get assholes like ISIS going and trying to chop people's heads off. Now, they're just the latest incarnation of that very extreme negative side, fundamentalist-driven mentality that says, I have the military power, I have the fear over, I can create fear in you, I will dominate you. We have a right, we have an obligation to defend those people in some way. So we do need to be both peacekeeping and combat as it is appropriate. Thank you very much.
Is that a pistol in your pocket, or are you just...
I'm just happy to see you.
Let's have a round of kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. That's all I know, but there's a good round.
Fellow non-soldiers, he's made our point. There's a spectrum, and 4 of the 5 are peacekeepers. To bring back one example of throwing away dictators, how many dictators have we thrown out of countries since we became combatant?
One couple weeks, yeah.
That wasn't done with guns. None. Because everyone that's been moved aside was replaced by someone else. That is even worse, because then we can't tell who it is. Let's remember how we've helped so many countries in peacekeeping. We've helped Haiti, we've helped Cyprus, we've helped Yugoslavia. Have we helped Afghanistan? Have we helped Syria? We haven't done anything but keep fighting. And as they said, 3,000 years of fighting, we haven't changed anything. We won't change anything until they're ready to. Let's try to encourage them to find common ground from the outside. Let's send people when they are ready to talk. We don't need to spend money on military efforts. We don't have the equipment to send away. So let's resume what we're good at. Let's go back to 60 years of proud history at preventing wars once ceasefires have happened. Thank you.
And he's French, too. Guy's got to win. He's back.
He's a good man down.
Come on. Give it
I fully appreciate the big hearts that these gentlemen have, but when it comes down to it, and I've got 2 instances in history which you cannot deny, called World War I and World War II. If we had been peaceful pacifists, we would probably be speaking German, and we would be rapidly blonde hair, blue eyes, all the rest of that crap. There are some people and some ideologies in the world that do not give a rat's ass who you are if you're not willing to at least say you're like them. Peacekeeping is great. The question is, I think, too black and white. You need to be able to understand that at times we need to use the bullets on other people, not our own citizens. World War I and World War II are 2 very good, very recent, very bloody examples of why we need to sometimes be willing to step up and take a combat role.
Okay, counting with Marilee and Angela, did you vote?
Yes.
Good. Who'd you vote for?
Trudeau. Secret ballot.
I voted for Trudeau too. I love Trudeau. I'm for change, and you? It's tense, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
exciting. What's going to happen?
And the winner is...
Oh, there it is.
Get out the goddamn
Oh my
guns.
gosh. Well, you know what?
Their guns are
I have some sweeties. I have kisses for everybody. Because I believe in make love, not war. I love men in uniform and I love them ugly.
That's how you got pregnant 7 times.